Hello, hello, kitty cats, and welcome back to another episode of Tails and Tassels, the show where you learn about the lives of burlesque and nightlife performers, their craft, their cats, and the way the two worlds collide. I'm your host, Gemma Smith. By day, I work in animal welfare, and by night, I host the Catbaret, New York City's cat-themed variety show. Today's guest is Aubvious, and I mean obvious with the spelling Aubvious. They're a dancer, choreographer, burlesque artist, and instructor based in Louisville, Kentucky, whose journey into burlesque began after a professional ballet career and a major pivot during the pandemic. I'm super excited for you to hear our conversation today. We talk about transitioning from the competitive ballet world into the more expansive burlesque community and what it means to them to be a gender-bending performer. We also chat about how their classical dance training shows up on stage today. Aubvious also shares what the Louisville burlesque scene is like. Spoiler alert, it sounds awesome. I can't wait to visit. They share plenty of information about favorite venues, nerdlesque shows, and even producing their own burlesque brunch. Plus, we talk about their return to teaching yoga and how that practice supports their creative life. And, of course, we get into cats, from how feline energy and boundaries influence their artistry, to meeting their own two cats, super cute Greta and Ollie, their own cat-themed act, and why cats might just be the ultimate teachers when it comes to creativity, rest, and perfectionism. Let's get into it. Aubvious, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I'm excited to share your journey as an artist and a cat parent with our listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm positively delighted. We like cat puns here. So first, today, we're going to talk about your craft. Then we'll learn more about your cutie two cats at home. So you're a dancer, a choreographer, burlesque artist, and you're also an instructor. To start us off, can you share a bit about your journey into burlesque and what pulled you towards this art form?
Yeah, so I'll start from the very beginning, which is when I was 4, I got put into ballet classes. And then growing up, I took ballet, tap, jazz, and modern. When I was 17, I joined Ballet Met in Columbus, Ohio as a professional dancer. So I was doing Nutcracker, Sleeping Beauty, those kinds of story ballets with the company. And then in 2017, I moved to Louisville to join Louisville Ballet, where I also trained for 2 seasons with them. And then unfortunately, that's kind of where my ballet career ended. I didn't have a company contract lined up anywhere. So I decided to stay in Louisville, keep training. And then I did some auditions in 2020, but then everything shut down. And I honestly, for like a year, was like, oh, I guess like dance just isn't going to work out and stuff. I kind of was like trying to find a different path. But then I was working as a barista, and my friend Ophelia Filth, her burlesque name, uh, she was talking about a burlesque show, and I was like, oh, I've seen burlesque, and I always thought it was really cool. And she's who got me into kittening. And then from there, I started working with the Bazaar, which is a production company here in Louisville, ran by Artemisia de la Miel. And yeah, I actually didn't think I was gonna do burlesque. I thought I was just gonna like kitten and then maybe like do dance in the Bazaar shows because they're usually a variety show. But then Halloween of 2023, I was like, I think I do want to add the burlesque element to it. So I kind of had like a surprise debut, and then from there, it's just kind of like taken off. I mostly work with the Bazaar, but I've started produce my own shows and started to work with other troupes in town as well, and looking to eventually travel with it. But yeah, I'm really happy that I'm happy that I took the risk of fully diving into it.
Yes, that really resonates with me. I chat with a lot of different folks, and how they discovered burlesque is always an interesting story. And for you, coming from being a professional dancer, wow, at such a young age, 17, what was the community like, I guess, being a professional ballet dancer versus kind of the burlesque community? How would you kind of compare it?
I mean, I think overall, I'd say the burlesque community is just like more often encouraging and like welcoming. I do think, unfortunately, in the ballet world, there is a lot of competition. And not that there isn't competition in the burlesque world, but it's kind of like people are competing with themselves more than they are for like solo spots and stuff like that. I know it's different with like burlesque competitions and stuff, but yeah, I would say that the burlesque community has been a lot more supportive and welcoming, especially as like a queer artist and stuff. I feel like I didn't get to explore that as much in the ballet world because it is very like binary. And as much as I love it, that was one thing I at the time didn't realize I was missing out on. But now being in the burlesque world and like getting that is really exciting for me.
And you've described yourself as a gender bending burlesque artist. And so, how does that show up? And also, you can share how any of your past dance background shows up in your stage persona and the way that you move on stage.
I would say, I mean, a lot of my movement does come from my ballet background. I kind of try to take the technique that I worked so hard on for 20 plus years. um,
Amazing, amazing.
yeah, I try to keep that really true to like my form and everything and like my lines, especially. A lot of people compliment me on my fluidity as a dancer. And I think that more comes from my contemporary and modern experience. And then more recently, with like exploring my gender and stuff, I take hip hop classes and heels classes now. And the heels has definitely helped me kind of embody some more like feminine traits that I feel like I didn't get in the ballet world so much. And then hip hop, I feel like I've been able to find some of those like more masculine movements that are a little more grounded. And then I kind of try to just like mix them all together. And that comes through my costuming as well. So a lot of times I'll wear pieces that are like a little more on the mask side, even if I am doing a more like feminine role. But yeah, and then I've also been dipping my toe into drag a little bit. I did my first drag king show this December. So
Oh, that's so cool. That's really
yeah.
exciting. I love like when as artists we try new things and dip our toes into different ponds and then find we can do that. Like I'm part of this community too. I can do that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the scene in Louisville? One of my favorite things about like burlesque is if I travel anywhere, I wanna look if there's a burlesque show there. Like,
Mhm.
I've never been to Philadelphia, that's crazy, I live in New York City, so I'm going to Philadelphia in a couple months, and I'm like, "I've gotta go see some burlesque, what the burlesque scene is
Mhm.
like there." So can you tell our listeners, and hopefully people listening are from Louisville or the surrounding area, but if not and they're traveling, like, what's the scene like there? You talked about Bazaar. Are there
Mhm.
certain venues that folks should check out?
Yeah. So the Bazaar is the main one I dance with and perform with. Artemisia does a lot of like nerdlesque shows. So trying to think of one. Oh, we do a Star Wars show and a Star Trek show.
I love
And
nerdlesque.
then
It's so
yes,
fun.
it really is. I love it a lot. So that's like that's kind of their niche, and they also do some more like classic shows or like the variety shows. They have a winter solstice show on the solstice every year.
Love a
Um,
pun. I love a
yes,
pun. Solstice?
I do
You said
too.
solstice. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So there's like a lot of nerdlesque shows. There's Blanc's Burlesque, who does more classic shows. They have a monthly show at Hereafter. But yeah, as far as venues, there's Hereafter. Zanzibar is a big one. I did a show with a band. They're a band poetry collaborative collective, but they wanted to add burlesque to it as well. So we just kind of did like a improvised show together, which was really cool. And that was also at Zanzibar. Yeah, they're really supportive of like just like new and interesting shows. And then the Whirling Tiger is also a good one to check out. Yeah, those are probably the top 3 venues here.
And speaking of you and your shows, your own shows, you recently accomplished 2 big goals for 2025, and this episode will be airing in early-ish 2026. So you produced your own burlesque show and you returned to teaching yoga, and I practice yoga once a week. I've been practicing yoga a long time. I love it for my mental health.
Mhm.
Um, so can you talk about, like, what did it feel like to follow through on these goals that you set for yourself and share a bit about them?
Mhm. Yeah, so yeah, at the beginning of 2025, I had 2 big goals, one being to produce a burlesque show and to get back to teaching yoga, and they both goals kind of in some way fell into my lap. I mean, I'm always working towards my goals and, just little daily tasks and stuff, but for the burlesque show, I was hanging out with my friend and fellow performer Tigris Blue, and we were just kind of chatting about shows coming up. And we were specifically talking about the Whirling Tiger, because we would really like to start a show there. It's a really great like speakeasy kind of vibe. So we've always thought it would be really good for like a jazz and burlesque show. And I am friends with they also have a coffee shop during the day, and I'm friends with the manager there, and he had reached out to me just seeing if I wanted to like host classes or like a show during the day. And then I had talked to Tigris, and we were both kind of like, oh, we could do like a burlesque brunch show. So last month we started the Whirly Burly Brunch, and it's the last Sunday of every month. So our next one is January 25th, and we have a live band. And it's kind of nice because it's like a more chill burlesque show. Like it's still high energy, but like it being in the morning and like it's a little more laid back, which is fun. And yeah, so that has been very scary for me. I would say like hosting and producing is like not where my, like, strengths are yet. I feel much stronger in my performing and dance skills, but it's been really nice to challenge myself with that, and I feel like it's only gonna make me grow as an artist.
Well, yes, I do wanna say before and then we'll move on to your yoga as well. Did you say the name of the venue is the Whirling Tiger or Flying Tiger? I'm trying.
The Whirling Tiger.
Ooh, and that's perfect because the tiger
Mhm.
is just a big cat and it's a monthly
Yep.
show. That's
Mhm.
really it's just nice to have your own project and your own work, and you always know, like, "Hey, I'm gonna be performing this act next month because it's your
Yep.
show."
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and, I wanted to add, I'm a little bit similar to you and opposite in that I love hosting, and I really love producing. I'm very, like, type A, and I
Mhm.
love talking in front of people, no problem. I don't but performing burlesque came after that for me, and I grew up tap dancing, but I'm not, like, a real
Okay.
dancer, you know? So, performing burlesque is always, like, that's what I need to, I think, do more of. I do enough. So I love that we're kind of opposite and that you're
Mhm.
also you're stretching yourself to do those things. But
Yeah.
being a yoga teacher, you're very comfortable. I always admire yoga teachers instructing a whole class of students. Tell me a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I got certified in 2019. It was kind of like around the time that the ballet career ended, and I was kind of searching for other options at the same time as I still did auditions and stuff. But yeah, I had already been practicing for a couple years, but mostly just the like I really only knew about the like physical side of yoga then. So my yoga teacher training really opened me up to like the philosophy and like the values behind yoga, which really resonate with me. And I feel like I've been able to filter those into like my daily life and as a performer, like the practice of nonviolence. So, like, how does that work for my body? Like, checking in with myself, making sure I'm not overdoing it, making sure I'm taking time to rest, and also not harming other performers, being courteous of them and stuff. And yeah, that was another goal that also kind of fell into my lap. A past coworker friend is working for Bourbon Barrel Foods now, and they wanted to start doing events to bring people into the new space. And she had reached out to see if I wanted to host a yoga class. And I was like, yes. So I was like, this is like my last goal that I haven't really touched yet. And it was really great. I had like 9 students show up. They were all I think all of them I knew except like one person. And yeah, for some reason I'm much more comfortable teaching yoga and dance. I think because I have a lot of knowledge about how the body works, so I feel more confident instructing people in that way than I do talking about like versus hosting and stuff. But I do think it helps me just like get used to speaking in front of people. But yeah, I'm really, really grateful that I'm starting that back up, and hopefully that'll also be another monthly gig for me. So we're gonna revisit it after the holidays. But yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. And if folks wanna, like, take a yoga class from you, and I'll put it all in the show notes, can you give us the best maybe your website or how where they can look to take yoga?
Yeah, I do just kind of run everything through my Instagram page. So it's at AUBBIUS with the underscore. And I do have a website called movewithaubrielle.com. It's not updated, but I will be doing that soon. So that's also a good place to check. When I do have events, I'm pretty good about putting them on there. So
And you
mhm.
also teach dance classes too, right? So what
Yeah,
kinda dance do you teach?
I kind of teach a wide variety. I was teaching ballet. I'm taking a little bit of a break from that. And right now I teach like every other Thursday at Crestview Studios, where I do an intermediate contemporary fusion class. So that's really nice for me because the fusion element is nice for me because I get to kind of play with the new styles that I'm learning and stuff, but still provide some like solid technique and foundations for people that come to class. Yeah, I really like for my classes just to be like fun and get people to like just get used to moving their body in a new way because it is all so often so foreign for people to just like, I mean, we're so used to just like walking and like doing like reaching for stuff. Like people aren't used to like bending their knees really deeply or getting on the floor and rolling around. And I just try to make it a really inviting space for people to just explore and like just do something different with their body. And if there's something that I can do to help them feel better in it, that's always my goal as well.
Oh, that's so helpful because I know how it is taking a class and for maybe for dancers, but also non-dancers. I recently took a
Hmm.
basic contemporary class at Broadway Dance Center a couple weeks ago, and it was so hard. And it was
Hmm.
basic, and that's supposed to be the below beginner. And for me, it was like my brain. It wasn't just my body. It was like remembering the choreography. And I'm
Yeah.
approaching middle age, so I thought it was good for my brain. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
really, this is good for my brain. But I like that you offer an inviting space to explore because that is something that would make me more comfortable as a
Hmm.
student.
Yeah, that's always my goal. Like, my biggest fear as an instructor is that I'm gonna scare somebody off by like making the class too hard or something. I'm like, I like to challenge people, but I'm like, I'm gonna hold your hand while we do it though.
That's lovely. Okay, so I need to come to Louisville because there's an amazing burlesque scene. I love a burlesque brunch too because I also
Mhm.
love, being out in the daylight.
Yeah.
I love going out at night, I just need a little energy drink.
Hmm.
But let's segue a bit to your to how cats, because we're gonna learn in a moment all about your 2 cats. How do cats in general influence your craft, either through movement, energy, or being part of your creative life? If you have any cat-inspired pieces, yeah, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, I would say I'm most influenced by like their energy and just kind of how like I love that cats all have their like very unique personalities, and I think they also teach us good like boundaries and stuff. For me, it's been really nice to have like a furry friend because I just feel like it really helps me like regulate, yeah, just like decompress. Like I was just gone for the weekend, and like yesterday I just got to lay with both of them for like the whole day, and I was like, okay, I feel like recharged now. So I think there is that like nice energy exchange between us. And then I don't think I realized I did this until I had the interview question, but I do think I try to mimic their like slinky kind of movement in my own dance and stuff. And I feel like they're also good at like watching cats is a good way to also like observe the art of tease and stuff because like they really are like the way they kind of like stalk each other when they're playing and like stuff like that. And yeah, I just think creatively they really just keep me grounded is like the biggest thing.
Yes, I agree. My cats do the same. And I like that you mentioned the boundaries because the episode that's going to air right before this episode, that hopefully our listeners have already listened to, is about 5 things my cats taught me in
Oh.
2025. And I say how like respecting my boundaries, saying no without having to overly justify. And like I love respecting my cat's boundaries. And I love that you said that because not all cat parents or cat people understand. Not all cats want to be picked up. They tell you when they're done being pet, like their body language, they show you their boundaries. And so I just love that you mentioned that.
Yeah. And I do have a cat themed act. But it's like it's not, I guess, a traditional cat. I don't know if you're familiar with Pokemon at all.
I am familiar with it a little bit, but I don't know if I know a cat from it. But
Okay.
educate
The
me.
there's it's actually the first Pokemon is Mew, the little like pink one with the little kind of cat ears and he has like a little tail. There's a video game themed burlesque show that the Bazaar puts on, and I did a Mew themed act. So I started as Mew, the like cat themed Pokemon, and then I actually do a quick change on stage where I turn into a sexy Pokeball.
I have you have
um,
to send me a video of this and I'll share
yeah,
it.
I can show you a sticker version of it.
Oh, that's so cool. You got that made. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it was funny because I get a lot of inspiration from my friends. I'm very fortunate that all of them are creatives themselves because can't even remember exactly how it came up, but my friend Sarah and I were like, we were actually on a work trip together, and I was talking about the Pokemon act, and she actually sketched up the sexy Pokeball, and then we were talking, and I was like, what if I became the sexy Pokeball? but yeah, I'll have to find that video and send it to you because it's a very fun act. My friend Casey also made a remix of the Pokemon theme song, and it's incredible.
That's like my favorite part of creating when you just have this idea and you're like, what if I did this? That initial inspiration and that feeling of like, yes, I have to do this, and then making it
hmm
come true. There's so much like fulfillment in that. And also, non-traditional cat acts are great because, like, so I host a cat themed variety show. How many times can we do the same old I'm a black cat or I'm this, even though I love those acts. I have a lot of friends with amazing black cat acts, but sometimes you got to mix it up with different themes. And
Yeah.
I think that's really creative and a really fun like twist on a cat act.
hmm Yeah. It's funny. I actually have like at least three performers off the top of my head that all have cat acts as well.
Hey, kitty cats. If you love Tails and Tassels, you'll purr over our next live show. Catbaret, a cat lady purr tea, is happening Wednesday, March 5th at Caveat in New York City. It's a night of cat themed comedy, music, and burlesque, or as we like to call it, purlesque, celebrating the cat lady energy in all of us. Grab your tickets and join the community at catbaretshow.com. That's catbaretshow.com. See you there. Yeah, cats are sexy. Burlesque performers also, they're funny, they're silly, and burlesque performers
Yeah.
have cats. A lot of performers have artists like animals.
hmm
Now, speaking of, because I can't help, I see this beautiful orange and white cat behind your shoulder. So this is
hmm
tell us about your feline family. You've got Ollie back
Yeah.
there and Greta,
hmm
right?
Yeah. Greta probably won't come out. She's a little bit shy. Um, but yeah, I'll start with Greta because she's not my very first baby. I had a cat named Pumpkin before her, but she is my current first baby in the family. I got her in 2019, kind of unexpectedly. And it is a slightly sad story, but it does have a happy ending. So I was living kind of with my ex at the time, and his mom had found Greta at like an apartment they were renovating or something, and originally brought her to be his daughter's cat, but his daughter was only like 6 at the time. So she really needed the adults there to be taking care of the cat with her. And yeah, there was like a couple of days went by, and there was one day where I came downstairs and I heard Greta crying, and I was like, "Oh, where's she at?" And like, I guess they had gotten frustrated with her crying and just had her in a crate out on the porch. And I was like, I looked at my ex and I was like, "Hey," I was like, "We either have to take her to a shelter or I'm taking her." And then I took her, and that's the happy ending is that we both kind of saved each other in a way. So, yeah, it helped me get out of a not super fulfilling relationship and, saved her from being neglected. But she's very sweet. She is skittish and a bit anxious, but we're working on it, and she's really like she's very bonded to me. I think partially because we were also like quarantined together during the pandemic and everything.
Oh, I hear a
Um,
meow. We hear a
I
meow.
know.
I love it.
Hey, come here.
So, the
You can come hang out. Hey.
oh, hi, Ollie. You're like, hey,
Mhm.
you're talking too much about Greta.
I know. Yeah, and then I got him, like, gosh, I don't even know, 2 months ago? Um, yeah, I had been, I I get really anxious when I leave Greta because I, like, worry about her being lonely,
I understand.
and, I just worry about her. And so I thought maybe getting her a friend would be good. They are not totally fond of each other yet. She's still a little skeptical. But I think eventually they'll be buddies. But yeah, he's really sweet. He just like wants to cuddle and play, and yeah, he doesn't mind that she doesn't like him yet. He's like, "I'll
Yeah.
wait. It's okay."
How old is she now?
She's 6 years old, and then Ollie is 9, almost 10 months.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it'll just take some time, but she's still young enough.
Yeah.
And even like my cats, I have two cats and they're not litter mates and they coexist. They're not best friends, but as long as they coexist and they keep each other company and leave the house, like that's a nice thing that they're not alone. There's someone else of their species there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be good. Like, even though like I came back from my trip and Greta seems a little annoyed, but I think she does actually seem better than when I've come home from other trips though, because she'll usually be really clingy. And like
Okay.
it's kind of funny because at first I was like, "Oh no, she's less clingy." And then I was like, "No, I think that's because she was less bored." So I think it's actually a good thing, even though I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's nice when you come home and they're like, "All I love that too."
Yeah.
Has bringing Ollie into your life shifted your day-to-day routine or like with creative projects or like how has that kind of shifted your burlesque world?
Um, I think I don't know if it's shifted my burlesque world as much. I guess a little bit because like December was really busy. I ended up doing I think 5 shows total, which is like more than I usually do in a month. And having the new cat at the same time was a little bit to juggle, but I think actually having him and a new responsibility helped me be more on top of like making sure I had like proper meals for shows and like getting enough rest. I think just having that extra accountability of like, okay, he has a new routine. So like I have to follow his routine. And then it kind of forced me to also make sure I was following my own routines. So yeah, I think the biggest one is like making sure I spend time with both Greta and Ollie, but like giving them both like good one-on-one play sessions each day, twice a day if I can.
Goals. Can you
Yeah.
tell us what I've seen two senior cats now and Luna's they don't come into frame a lot either because I'm like I'm in a closet. They're not gonna jump on my lap. But Luna, a little black cat, and then Lino, an orange cat, and they're seniors. And I'm having, I'm finding certain toys that get their attention. But what are your cat's favorite play sessions now? A kitten,
He
they're fun to play with. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he really loves the, like, wand toy with the feathers on the end. That's probably his favorite, and then they both really like the spring toys. They will both, like I'll stand in one room and toss it, and they'll chase it and bring it back to me, so we'll play fetch, and that's probably honestly both of their favorites. And it's really good. It like gets their energy out so much because they just run back and forth. Greta also kind of likes when I like chase her around. Like I think especially before I had him, like I would try to like pretend to be a cat and she like seems to like that too.
That's so cute. I like how cats are all so different. I wish I could throw those spring toys and they would run and bring it back to me. I throw it, they run after it once, and they're like, done. So that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we're at the part of our episode I ask every guest to
Mhm.
share your favorite product or your favorite tip for fellow creative cat lovers. And I just love that we have Ollie for those listening. We have Ollie in the frame in the back, just like perfectly, like he knows we're doing this. Like, let me show off how tall
I
I am.
know.
So
He is pretty tall. I think he's gonna end up being a big cat, which I'm kind of excited for. Greta's a little bit smaller. But yeah, my top tip, um, I guess this works for both cat parents, and as a burlesque artist or creative is like not letting perfectionism or comparison override the joy of it. I feel like in my experience, there's more so when I was doing ballet, but I really let the perfectionism and like the constant like trying to get to the next level. I kind of lost like why I was doing it in the first place and it wasn't as fun anymore. And now it's like, there's always going to be goals and like things I want to achieve, but also taking time to like celebrate those wins on the way and like having time where it's like, okay, I can just like enjoy where I'm at. I don't necessarily have to get to the next level. If I want to, I can, but also just like really making time to, yeah, celebrate your wins and not letting the comparison and perfectionism, yeah, get in the way of what the real goal is, which is to like have fun and do something enjoyable and express ourselves.
exactly. I really like that you said that, and I have to tell myself that all the time too. You know how it is when you finish one show that you produced or a new act that you
Hmm.
did. Sometimes we take maybe a couple hours to be like, yay, I did it, and then we're on to the next.
Yeah.
And it's like then it's always on to the next. And it's always you gotta level up. And you're
Hmm.
never gonna be at that level when you think I'll be happy when I make this, then you're not. And yeah, so I
Yeah.
think that's like super good for folks listening um in January, thinking about our intentions for the new year and just to like sit. We've got Ollie on Obvious's lap. So just sit on just have your cat
Yeah.
sit on your lap. He's really handsome.
I know.
I
He's getting bored, I think. He was napping earlier and now he's like, okay, I'm ready to play.
I love an orange cat and an orange and white cat. So handsome.
Hmm.
Aw. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I really love when performers reach out. I met your friend at CatCon in August. I think Emily with the cupcake. Is that
Um, Emily is her name, and then Kitty with a cupcake is the company. Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
we have a lot of cat themed stuff. We got some new we have they're really cute. We have mini pin sets that are just like three little cats and they're really cute. I don't know if they're going to CatCon this next year or not, but if they are, they'll be there. But yeah.
Okay, well, we've got to plug. I've got to remember also to make sure I'm following myself, Kitty with the cupcake, because CatCon was a whirlwind of a weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It was so exciting to meet folks all over. I don't know if I'll make it back this year. So everyone also follow Kitty with a Cupcake, and we're gonna tag your Instagram and your website, and we'll be sure to share some fun clips on social media so folks can see
Yay.
your work as well. And yeah, thanks again for joining, and I'm wishing you a beautiful new year.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Tails and Tassels. So if you have any questions, comments, or just want to say meow, feel free to send us an email at tailsandtasselspod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Also, join our community on Instagram at Tails and Tassels Pod for more updates and behind-the-scenes fun. See you next time, kitty cats.